Hey, y'all. Welcome to another week where we are continuing to talk about this idea of speaking truth to circumstance. Now, this week's topic is the wise warrior. And I want to talk about this idea of warrior a little bit. So, I don't know if you have heard this, but the I have heard multiple times things such as the spiritual journey is a warrior's journey, or the spiritual journey is not for the faint of heart. And honestly, I agree. It really is a warrior's journey, because not only does it require us to have the intentionality and the grounded centerness to really step into something new, to be something different, to step into our calling and purpose in a greater way. But it also requires us to be wrong a lot and to look at all of those dirty parts that we've tried to stuff away into closets. To often it requires bringing up all of the crap that we've shoved down and look at it. It requires us to ask ourselves constantly, why? Why did I respond that way? Why did I step into judgment in that moment? Why did that make me so angry? Why did that trigger me? Why am I so upset right now? And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to constantly stand on this unsettled ground while still being firmly grounded in our spirituality and our spiritual practice, and yet be willing to just constantly shift and change and grow. Once again, God is change, as I talked about last week. And so this idea that the spiritual journey is a warrior's journey, is a hero's journey, absolutely. But because it requires us to constantly open ourselves up to a deeper understanding of ourselves. And what I love the Muslim idea of jihad. And now that term has really been misinterpreted, especially in Western culture and American society. It's a spiritual war is what it's called. And it's often been used to say, oh, Islam or Muslim people are going to wage a spiritual war on anyone who is not Muslim. Not really. That's not actually what it's saying at all. Instead, jihad is actually this idea that it is the spiritual struggle within oneself against sin. The spiritual struggle against oneself. The spiritual struggle with oneself against sin. Now that we've defined jihad, we have to define sin, right? Because what is sin? You might be saying, Reverend Chris, we don't believe in sin and science of mind. You're right, and. So sin is not doing something wrong, committing some treasonous act against God itself. It's nothing like that. Sin is actually an archery term. And what it means is to miss the mark. Now, I think we can all agree that we have missed the mark. All of us, everyone misses the mark. Sometimes you miss it more often than others, and some people tend to miss it more often than others, I think. But in general, we have all committed sin because we've all missed the mark. Maybe we said the wrong thing, or we did something that was harmful to another. Or we made a decision that really didn't work out the way that we expected it to. We missed the mark, and it's not right or wrong or good or bad. It simply is. And so I love this idea of a spiritual warfare with oneself against that. That to me is what I was just talking about, this idea of the warrior who asks themselves, why? Why did I do that? Why did I make that decision? Why did I feel that way? Why did I judge that person? Because sometimes we're going to hit the mark straight on and sometimes we're going to miss the mark. And the more that we can step into that warrior's heart and be the wise warrior that asks themselves why, good Lord, say that one time slow, let alone 3 times fast, right? The more that we can do that, the more that we are committing that jihad, and the more that we are allowing ourselves to be the highest, greatest version of ourselves. And that highest, greatest version of ourselves is going to continue to be somebody that misses the mark, because we're human and that's just what we do. We miss the mark all the time. None of us are going to get it right all of the time. And so it's less about getting it right and more about being intentional, being conscious, and being aware of what we're doing, why we're doing it, when we miss the mark, and how to move back into integrity, move back into our own authenticity, realign ourselves with the truth, re-ground ourselves into our spiritual practices, and move forward from that place. I love you all.